Episode
All
six.
right, episode 6. Back again, Paul and Ryan, your co-hosts, with another special guest, Jason Fox, the Ratchet God himself, JFK of the Ratchet Gods, sitting down with us, episode 6 of the COD. Give them a few words about yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Yeah, I'm JFK of the Ratchet Gods. I hail from Philly, Philadelphia, PA. I'm 1/3 of a producing team, sound designing team. We are more so on the sound designing team. Like we're just like able to make sounds for producers that are like up and coming or that's out there, and just make it sound as crazy as possible. I'm currently staying out here in LA, and, just up and level, man. Just taking the level to the next step. So
And you just got a placement with Krit, you said?
Yep, that's the newest one. I did my track record is Nicki Minaj. I did a song with what's his name? Taylor Parks. She's Ariana Grande's songwriter, best friend.
Okay.
That's CyHi the Prince. I did No Dope on Sunday, and then got this one, the Big Krit coming up. And I think I have another one coming up too, but I don't want to speak on that before.
I guess before we get into your background and how you came up, for producers right now who are looking to get those placements, do you have any advice for how producers, I guess, who are really just working for local guys right now, how they break into that next tier of artists?
It's crazy because it's a whole new it's I guess the standard work ethic is the best way to do anything. Constant work is you'll get better at it. But the thing is, with today, everything is social media based, so you can get more music to, people. But the only problem is there is, everybody coming out with music. Everybody happens. And so there has to be kind of a way that you can filter out what the quality over quantity, because everybody's just dropping stuff, so it's like, what do we, how do we know which artist is really coming out or which artist to look out for? You can actually self-produce anybody and be big that way now. It's not like you have to send it to a major label executive and have them approve of it. You can actually do these things yourself and be, pretty successful from it. So I would say just keep going, as far as, invest in yourself, make sure that you upgrade your equipment, make sure you upgrade your software, networking, make sure your phone is lined up with all the the right names, all the people that can help you get to somewhere. Make sure that you're able to offer your services, because they like people who can give as well as receive. Make sure that you're constantly putting money to the side for yourself, because this eats money. This eats money. It's a job that you have to invest in yourself. But the rewards are big. It's a hard struggle, but when you get your foot in, it pays off.
How'd you start producing?
I was actually so I was in this ship with Paul, man. And when I was in the Navy, I would not, I would be making beats on the laptop, for the homies and everything, and it didn't click on, to me that I should be doing this for real. But everybody was telling me, why are you, on the ship? Why are you doing, the Navy? You should be, making beats for artists. And I never took that into consideration that it could be a possibility. So, after I left out, I got to the, I got back to Philly, and we did this it was a showcase for producers called iStandard. I did that back in 2009, and the chances of me winning were slim. I thought I was gonna, be like dead last or like not even be heard of. But I did this record that was sampled from The Price is Right. And when I played that, like everybody went nuts and I won that. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm, pretty good at making beats.
Right.
Hopefully I can do, something with this. So I kept that going. I went to Full Sail. Remember you? Paul, you remember the dude named Ron Dixon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ron Dixon, So he put me onto school Full Sail.
University.
Yeah, Full Sail
Okay.
University
Mm-hmm.
in Orlando, and I went down there, and then I just met like a whole bunch of people who had the same mindset, way like smart people, like geniuses at this stuff, man. I'm just like in awe about how smart these people are about their business and how far behind I was, because I'm thinking, making beats is the majority of it. Like that's all you have to do. It's so much more into this game than just, making a beat on your computer. If it was just that, then everybody would do it. But it's so much more into the business side of things. And that's what this school is teaching me, like the business side of things, how to, deal with the artists, how to, properly mix your records, because I wasn't even mixing my records. All I was doing was just making a beat and just sending it out, and like it would be I listen to them things now, it's trash.
You had to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. And that's what I said. You got to keep working. Like some people, was able to pick it up quicker than me, because I thought it was the shit at one point, with all those dirty mixes, with all those bad mixes. And then I listened to them again and I'm like, no, this is terrible. This is terrible. But now, I'm glad that how I stepped up. I'm glad I did put in the work. I'm glad I was able to, learn how to mix and learn how to clean my sound up and learn how to do these things. And it got me, major placements. It got me into, crowds. It got my phone, listed with celebrities and people in my contact list. Like it's just like, this is where I'm supposed to be, But before, if I would have made beats the way I did back then, I would have never been here. Like I would have never gotten anywhere close.
Hey, come on now. You see RZA, he got a far away with unmixed beats.
RZA was a pioneer. And like he can't
yeah, you can't recreate that.
Right.
He had a dirty sound, but that was all analog gear too. Like he was,
yeah.
Like, stuff that even if it was unmixed, it still sounded like, it wasn't overdone.
Yeah.
Like, my stuff was overdone and unmixed. So it was loud, blaring horns, and I had like strings going everywhere, and I was just doing too much, and the artist couldn't do anything.
Hey, organized chaos, man. Organized chaos.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Right.
I just got better at it, man, because I realized that it's not about the beat essentially. It's about the artist, and we're trying to make the artist sound as good as possible. Do the soundscape for that artist. And if they don't, if they can't hear the artist over your beat, then you're doing something wrong. So I just, I took that mindset and just made sure that everything it still sounds good, I can still put some beautiful chords in there, but just die it down, so they can listen to the artist.
Right.
What program did you start out with?
FL Studio 4.
Fruity Loops?
I think it was Fruity
Loops.
All right. Let's go.
Hey, Fruity Loops had everybody feeling like they were like top-notch producer. Like, man. Right.
Entry level.
Hey, turn up the bass. You know what I'm saying?
God, I love FL Studio, man. Like it was so easy to use, and like I didn't have to like have a keyboard or anything with me, when I was on the ship. Yeah. So all I would do is just plug and play, like just press buttons, and then I made a beat, and then it was the people on the ship, they was paying for it, like artists on the ship, or like rappers on the ship, they was paying for it, dog. Like it was crazy. I made some good money. I made I made a couple stacks off of some sellers. I was like, all right.
So you were supplying the Navy with beats for real.
Like it that's how I found out I was. It was like, you do your normal job, and then after that, I would go make beats, and then we would like hook up like somewhere like in the kitchen or like.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, you know what's crazy? I used to go down to like the Lower V, and if everybody was listening, you don't know what the Lower V is, the vehicle storage on a ship. And man, it'll be cats from deck in there just rapping. They got these beats blaring. I'm like, all right, that's decent. I was like, where'd you get the beat from? He was like, oh man, Fox got us. I was like, oh man, this dude.
That was fun, man. I love that. It's like, okay, I'm like hearing that was just like the first step, like letting me know that I actually may be able to do this, And it just, it was just overall confidence building, like if I didn't have the Navy, the guys telling me that I could do it, I probably would have been still in the Navy, honestly.
Right.
Because, we was getting paid to be out in Japan. Like,
hey, come on, man. I see. So you moved from Philly to LA. So on one of our previous episodes, we had James the Flavor Child, who's doing this thing right now. He actually went to LA as well. From a producer standpoint, because he gave us the artist side, right? From a producer standpoint, what's the difference between the East Coast versus West Coast when it comes to music? Maybe resources? I don't know.
Right now, I would say, like with the East Coast, especially, like now, it sounds like it's developing that Pop Smoke sound. Like it is recent, like it's a beat is got this weird swing to it. Like I like it. It's like the snare is like delayed in a measure, so it comes later than your standard 4-on-4 beat, or so it's like I don't know how to explain that type of beat that they're doing. Like
Brooklyn drill, the drill beats.
Brooklyn, yeah. So it's dope, but it's like it's so new to me. After I seen Pop Smoke do it, like I started seeing other local artists, use that. But in Philly, it's still kind of like the trap sound. Like Philly even has their own sound. It's like it's so grungy though. Like we have a dirtier sound. Like we're more violent and like it gets like we can't escape like for some reason
right
that dirty sound. But
yeah.
But with that as well, we have a lot of talented musicians as well. I think like Philly has a very eclectic musicians. Same with Chicago, same with Detroit, same with Brooklyn, and LA. With their sound, they have like the top of the top musicians over there. Like that's their difference. It's like their production. There's a group out here called 1500 and Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And they are amazing, man. They are absolutely amazing. But they're like, it's a more live sound over here. They have a slow bop, like the drums are real crispy over here.
Right.
They like, I think because there's like the weather's always nice around here, they make chill beats. Like they're very chill. Like I think our beats are like our weather. Out here is very chill, laid back.
Mm-hmm.
New York, East Coast is very, angry, because you only get 3 months of summer. So you got to get on your rage and all that stuff out, in 3 months. And then it's back to cold weather.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, out here, it's like, it's always nice.
Right.
It makes
the laid back, upbeat type.
Yeah. I was gonna say it makes sense because you listen to "Quiet Storm" by Mobb Deep. The beat, low key, would sound like a quiet storm, a dreary day in New York or something.
And it's just like they sound like they're up to something. They sound like like this.
Something going down.
Yeah, out here it's like you can have they have their gangster music. Dre's is amazing that. But like as far as everybody else, they're kind of like chill. It's like laid back music, stuff that you can smoke to, things that you can just relax and vibe with. So
right.
How would you categorize your style or your sound?
And now, like I still would say like very heavy key and chord, progression based. My drums, I just, I love taking different drums and getting a different sound every time. But like, if you're talking about I have a few departments of where my sound lies. So like, if I'm doing beats for like artists and they have like a specific type of song that they want in mind, and then I'm gonna just do that because it's like, all right, you called me in for a job, I want to work with you. But, if you have this specific song in mind, let's try that out first. If it doesn't work, then we'll go with what I want to do. But their songs are usually like what's out on the radio right now. And I'll make that to the best of my ability, but it takes so little work to do. It's like those type of songs are like 5 minutes and you don't really get to like care about that song when you make it like for the radio. Like that's how the Nicki Minaj song was. I did that song in 5 minutes. Like I was in a corner of my bed, like my boy sent me some drums. He was like, "Hey yo, Nicki's recording. You wanna add something to this?" And I'm like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Just think about Nicki and Gucci, what they say over this." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And I just played, and I just did that and some chords in the back for the hook, and then I sent it off, and I'm like, all right, on to the next thing. I wasn't even worried about that. I get a call at night saying Nicki's recording to this right now. I'm like, man, stop, you lying, man. Like, wow. I'm like, I'm like, that's not even what I was expecting, but it was cool to hear that. But that didn't, I was kind of left a little sad because I didn't really put any effort into it. It was only 5 minutes of work. But that's it. Like when it comes to my style, like I love a lot of like big, orchestra sounds. I love like beautiful soundscapes. I love making stuff, like expand your imagination. That's great for me. That makes me feel like, I'm doing this for me, and doing this for like filling my purpose. But when I do it for other people and they want something more industry standard, I can do it too. So
right, gotta be versatile.
Man. Like that's the key. That's really the key to the game. You got to be able to do what people want, but also not lose yourself. If you can do that, then you're
good.
Yeah. Who was your first placement? How did you kick off your, your professional start?
My first placement was CyHi the Prince.
Nice.
On Sundays. I actually did the track No Dope on Sundays. My friend Mark Bird, he hit me up and he was like, no, actually, his other, like his partner sent me a record, and it was just this whole other beat. It sounded like a Beatles song. Like it sounded like a Beatles sample, and I couldn't even name the sample of it, but it was a very like 60-ish, sample. So I, hey, can you play something over this? And so I played, just a small section, but it was like choirs, keys, organs, and like I did some sort of like a gospel chant, like they're like hallelujah, praise the Lord, like type of stuff in a song. And then, I got a call back like a few months later saying that because of what I did, they changed the song to fit that, instead of that 60 sound. So when I actually heard the song, it was everything that I had played, and then that was sampled through the whole song.
Oh wow!
And then it was sampled through the whole song, and then it was cut off halfway, and then they let I think it was a piano player that came in the second half. It was me and Lex Luger that did that beat, and Mark Bird. So it was, I think Mark Bird and Lex Luger took off on the second part too. So yeah, but that was my introduction to like getting major placements, and then after that, I got the Nicki Minaj placement, and it was like I got one for every year since 2016. So like the goal is to get more than one, per year. But it's like, you never take for granted the ones that you got, because like even when I say I'm like not, I wasn't happy getting the Nicki placement with the music that I put in, like the effort that I put into it. It felt like I could have done more, but it did well. Like it went platinum, and I was like, okay, I got a plaque for it. I just wanted to do more for it. I was like, I wasn't impressed with what I did, but I love the fact that I got a good place. So,
yeah. Now, how did it feel when you got that plaque?
Oh man, like I'll tell y'all right now, like it's a you gotta buy it.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that.
So the thing about that, like I wasn't expecting it. I thought they sent it to you when it hit 1 million records sold. It's you gotta buy it. The more money you spend, the bigger the plaque is. So I'm like, give me a small plaque because it's like $500. I'm like,
jeez. So how do they notify you? They reach out and tell you like, hey, this thing went platinum and here's your options, or do you have to reach out and figure it out?
So like with me, I found out on Nicki's page, on Instagram page, like she posted, it went platinum, and I was like, oh shit, I'm a platinum producer now, So okay, that's cool. So, but yeah, when you find that out and it's RIAA certified, that's when you can go and make your purchase for you. I was like, it as you grow into this industry, you find out more and more like how much you have to do for yourself versus, what you think everybody else kind of like the industry does for you. It's like not really that anymore. You kind of like have to do everything. So.
Hey, the producers are like the unsung heroes, man. Like you're not the front runner, right? You're not the artist, but you're the person who's actually putting it together to give people the sound that they want to hear. And I think that's interesting because a lot of people don't know that, right? They see the artist, but they don't, like you're certified as well. You're platinum certified as well.
But everybody wants to be the artist, and that's the problem. Like everybody wants to be the somebody. We all had that goal when we were kids. Like when I grow up, when I get this, when I get on, you're gonna want to be my, you're gonna be around me. You're gonna want to be around me. But that shouldn't be the case. When you're a producer or somebody in the background, you're like, all right, I'm doing this for the strict, for the love of it, and you shouldn't want that kind of attention anyway, because that attention is as good as it looks in public, there's some bad, attention that comes with it. There's some real bad attention that comes with it. Especially when you start getting money in public. Like people, like you become a target. So I don't want any of that, like that type of public knowledge. That whenever I put a placement out, I don't want people knowing that I got bread for that, like a lot of bread for that. Like you don't need to know that. But when you're an artist, it's automatic. Like they start knowing who you are, start getting unwanted people around you. It's crazy. It makes you go insane. So I'm just glad to add like this low key. I'm glad to be an unsung hero. I'm glad to be in that bag category.
Now, low key, you're not even just the unsung hero for the artist, but nowadays, let me get your opinion on this. I think some producers are unsung heroes for other producers just through the sale of sound kits. And I have some I guess experience with sound kits. I've downloaded sound kits and used them to make my own beats. And it feels great when you can use that and you can chop it up. But we know there's a lot of people who would just take those loops and throw it together, and now that's my beat. Even though your drum loop is from this person, your keys are from that person, the melody is from that person. I mean, I've seen you on your page sell some sound kits, so I guess what do you think on that aspect of the game now, that industry?
I love it. I mean, I think there are people. We came in when it started getting hot with the sound kits. So like that's where we made a lot of money. We made a lot of money doing sound kits, and it definitely gets like tricky with a lot of people because a lot of producers don't like, putting out kits for free. I mean, not for free, but royalty free. And royalty free when when you buy this kit, you don't have any obligations to,
Splice.com.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Splice fame. You don't owe any producers any money after buying that kit. But the only problem is, when you put out that kit, there are hackers who steal that kit and put it on their website, and now they're making a profit off the music, and you're not seeing a dime off of it.
Yeah.
Because they got the kit, which is all part of the game. Like me and my team, record guys, we joke about it. We say we made it now. Whenever we start seeing our kits on different pages, so we're like, okay, you paying good of us to steal from us. If it was trash, I don't think we was going to steal it. So,
Yeah.
Hey, it's funny that you guys are talking about sound kits because us recently, intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, and things of that nature. And I'm sure that in the music game, especially what you're doing, producing, creating sounds, creating beats, how do you go about like making sure that you're compensated or making sure that your creations are protected?
Well, as far as our kits, like we have deluxe kits, and then we have regular ones. With regular kits, it's royalty free. You're going to you can take it and you can use it for however you want. That's our gift to you. You paid us already, so it's like we're getting our money. Now, when it comes to stuff that we're doing for like our deluxe kits, we break the beat down, or the sample down into the actual samples that we put into the sample that we give you. So the actual instruments that we put in the sample, we give you that as well. But that isn't royalty free. That's those are stems. Those are what go into a session, and those are those require you to reach out and give us a percentage, because these are like nobody else would get these. These are exclusive type kits. Right. So that's when it becomes a little bit more in the interest for us. As far as music, like whenever I get a placement, I just make sure like I have all my paperwork taken care of. I have a great lawyer, always lawyer up, always make sure that you're represented. I have my BMI, set up. I have my publishing set up. I have my LLC set up. Everything is protected on my end. So like as long as the artist comes out and they drop their music, it goes straight into my BMI. I get the royalties, for that, and every quarter I get paid.
Nice. Now there was a story, I guess, connected to the whole SoundKit issue. Just recently, somebody had downloaded a kit from Splice. They had made a beat, got a placement on the latest Bieber record. They heard their beat, and they were on Twitter salty because, hey, I got a placement, but I sold it royalty free, so it's not necessarily my placement. It's this other producer who's using my music, and he can't say anything because it's royalty free. Now, has that happened to you, or what do you think of situations like that?
If it has, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's so many people coming out with music. It's so many people. So I'm sure there's a record out there with something that I did on it, but I wouldn't know because there's so much music out there. And it's like that's what they bank on. It's like, okay, even if I put out something with your sample on it, the chances of you hearing it, are slim because it's so much coming out. But if you get on a Justin Bieber record, well, everybody's going to that. So that's like I would definitely feel salty too. Like, I would be like, you punch in the air every day. Like,
yeah.
You make sure you keep your eye on that one.
Those royalties are, man, bro. You know how much. Fun fact. So the Old Town Road.
Yeah.
So the guy who produced that, Young Rio or Young
Keo. Yeah.
His first royalty check off that thing.
Wow.
7 figures, bro. Come on, like
one lump sum.
Yeah.
Like that's just the first quarter, like of his, like there's more after that, like he's set. You don't even have to make another record, man. Like that's
Right.
that's the type of thing you want to do. Like you want to be able to put something out like that where you won't have to, you'll never starve again unless you're just terrible with money. And that's, he's set. He's set.
Right.
I mean, one song that just went diamond, like, but that's, I think that was another thing. They got that sample, for very cheap, and then it paid off. So he did it. He did the business the right way. Same thing with Designer Panda. I think that beat was sold for very cheap.
Yeah.
But I think they didn't get the royalties, until later. I think it was like handled later, but before it would have been like just a cheap beat, and then the song went, crazy. Double, I think it was triple platinum or something like that.
Probably diamond right now.
Yeah, probably. Like that song was crazy.
Used on Kanye's album too. Yeah. Need those checks.
Gotta have them.
Now, how has COVID kind of influenced your workflow this year?
Big time. Because I came out here before it hit, it hit me, where I thought that I came out here with this whole, life-changing aspiration. It was going to be, I had everything lined up, I had artists on deck, placements, about, guaranteed records that was going to be, smashes and artists were going to open. But once COVID hit, it put a stop to studio sessions, people meeting outside of like Zoom sessions, and it just like it wasn't the same. Like we can't link up with the artists like that because we don't want to get each other sick in these close quarters in those studios. Like I think I did one session, and it was like we were all because the room was big enough to hold us, but
right.
we were all in very distant part of the room, and we couldn't like. It worked, but it didn't feel the same. It wasn't like that that natural vibe that you get, like especially with it on your mind all the time. Like, you're just like trying to communicate with these people, but you're kind of worried at the same time what's going on. Like you don't want to, suffer the loss of the economy, the get sick. It's so much on people's mind right now. Everybody's on edge.
Yeah.
I was just having a talk with my friend Cadence. Dr. Cadence, I don't know if you know her. She's major. She's a major songwriter. Just Beyonce's Black is King. She did that. She did Ariana Grande's Seven Rings and Thank You Next. Like so, she's major. But I was just talking with her yesterday, and she was like, it's super edgy right now. Everybody's anxiety. It's the racial tension with everybody on top of the COVID things. Not just if it was just COVID, I think we could get through it, a little bit more easier. But with the racial tension on top of that, things were happening with kids in ICE. It's so much all at once. 2020 is kicking kicking up right now. But.
Absolutely. Hey, I was gonna say on that note, justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for Elijah McClain. Thank you.
Well, I don't even think we even have to ask. I was gonna say, how is the climate in LA, just with protests and whatnot? But I feel like we already understand.
Yeah. It was when you're out here, like it's when it first went down and everybody was like on these streets going crazy. It was overwhelming to see how much love, Black lives, meant to people. Because like on all the storefronts and on all the boulevards, it's like Black Lives Matter. On the stores, like actually, on the boarded up stores that were like, that had to leave for COVID, that shut down for COVID. They boarded up their doors and it was like, we love Black lives, and just all up and down these streets, and I'm like. Man, that's beautiful, bro. That's so beautiful.
That's powerful.
And how much anger there is. But you also, like, if you go out there, like, it's just like seeing so much love that I don't think I've ever seen it that much love, poured out for us, and you can see how they try to dismantle it.
Yeah.
But I remember, seeing all that love for us, and I just don't want them to try to separate that, or try to make the whatever's going on with Antifa, all the people who have different agendas. I don't want them trying to fuck that up. That's all. Mess that up.
No worries.
Yeah.
We got a little bit more than a minute. I guess just to wrap up, what do you have moving forward? What can we expect in the future from you, from Ratchet Gods?
Oh man, we have a project coming out called Road Trip. That's going to be, strictly creative. Like it's not like radio singles stuff. Like we're going to have, of course, trap drums and the stuff that you're familiar with. But we want to get real weird with it. It's time, now to like kind of break, from what you're just used to hearing. That's what the goal is to try to get you to a point where you love music and not just, your singles. It's like these are things that are going to be, stuff that you remember. Because I think music right now is at a point where we just hear it and it's gone. Hear it and it's gone. It's forgettable. It's disposable. So we're just trying to make something that you can actually keep in your mind for a while, but yeah, that's the newest thing that we're working on. Oh, also working on this project, or we got this project out with an artist named Paulie X.